Highway 95 was slow to wake on Saturday mornings, but Lucy's diner was already alive with sizzling bacon, rattling plates, and the hum of travelers drifting in and out. It was the kind of place where life moved in predictable circles. Truckers ordered black coffee, families asked for extra napkins, and locals exchanged the same old stories. Nothing extraordinary ever happened there. Until the boy burst through the door, the bell above the entrance snapped off its hook and clattered to the floor as an 8-year-old child stumbled inside, barefoot, bleeding, one shoe missing, shirt torn, and eyes wide with a kind of terror adults rarely understand. His voice cracked as he screamed for help, shaking the diner to its core. "They're beating my mama. Please, someone help." Forks froze midair. Conversations died instantly. Breath itself felt suspended. Shock pinned every customer to their seat, except 8 men in leather vests sitting in the back corner. The Thunder Knights Motorcycle Club rose as one, chairs scraping, boots hitting tile, discipline and purpose shaping their every movement. Victor Kane, battle-hardened and steady, knelt in front of the trembling boy. The child pointed across the highway toward a rundown motel, where the sounds of violence still echoed behind a thin, peeling door. Without hesitation, without fear, 8 bikers moved toward danger as naturally as others moved away from it. What followed was not simply a rescue. It was the beginning of a war against a violent man who believed no one could stop him. A battle fought not with loud promises, but silent vows, vows to protect a woman and her child who had been failed too many times, and in the quiet aftermath, a truth stood clear. Sometimes the bravest cry for help changes more than a moment, sometimes it changes lives forever. Lucy's diner sat beside Highway 95 like a stubborn relic from another time, bright neon sign flickering, smell of pancakes drifting, chrome stools lined at the counter. Regulars filled most booths. The Thunder Knights, 8 disciplined, tightly bonded bikers, occupied the corner table, eating quietly. Then the boy arrived, bursting through the door so violently the bell snapped free. He stood barefoot on the cold tile, breathing in ragged gasps, speckled with dirt and tears. His legs shook beneath him, but fear kept him upright. "Please, please help. They're beating my mama." Gasps rippled. Some customers covered their mouths. Others simply froze, instinctively shrinking away from trouble. But the bikers did not wait. Victor stood first, his brothers mirroring him instantly. Victor knelt down. Calm. Grounded. "Where is she, son?" The boy pointed across the street, toward a cracked motel with faded numbers. "Room 14. My mama's boyfriend, he's hurting her bad." His voice trembled. "Please, mister. Please." The Knights exchanged a single glance, silent agreement forged through years of loyalty, discipline, and a personal code. Victor stood. "Lucy, call 911. We'll handle the rest." The boy tried to run ahead, but Snake held him gently. "Not yet, kid. Stay back. We'll get her." Outside, engines gleamed in the sun, but the bikers didn't mount them. They crossed the asphalt on foot, boots thudding like a promise. The motel loomed ahead. From room 14 came impact sounds, fists striking flesh, a woman pleading, a man shouting with drunken rage. Victor's jaw tightened. He picked the wrong woman today. He kicked the door open. Dark air. A small room. A woman curled on the floor, bloodied. And a giant man raising his fist to strike again. Everything shifted. The rescue had begun. Victor stepped inside, 8 silhouettes filling the doorway. The attacker, Marcus Webb, froze mid-strike, confusion twisting his expression into something feral. "That's enough," Victor said quietly. Marcus sneered, muscles bulging beneath dirty tattoos. "She's my woman. Get out." "She's not your woman," Victor replied, voice steady, eyes cold. "And her boy asked us for help. That makes it our problem." Marcus lunged. Victor moved first, his hand shot up, catching Marcus's fist midair. A twist. A step. A slam. Marcus's face hit the wall with a dull, decisive thud. His knees buckled. Two bikers grabbed each arm and pinned him to the filthy carpet. Riggs, the medic, knelt beside the injured woman. "Stay still, ma'am. I'm checking your ribs." Her breath hitched sharply at his touch. "He kicked me, over and over." "Tyler," she whispered, panicked. "Where's my boy?" "Right here, Mama." Tyler broke from Snake's arms and rushed to her side, sobbing as he held her. The mother, Rebecca Martinez, hugged him with what strength she had left. Victor watched them quietly, jaw clenching. He'd seen battlefield injuries less severe than this. Sirens approached. Sheriff crews arrived with paramedics. Marcus was cuffed, furious, shouting threats even while being dragged away. "You can't hide from me. I'll find you." Victor stepped forward, eyes locked on Marcus. "No. You won't." Rebecca was placed on a stretcher. Tyler never let go of her hand. Before the ambulance doors closed, she whispered to Victor, voice weak but certain, "Thank you. You saved my life." Victor nodded once. Not a hero's gesture, just a simple acknowledgement of duty. The Knights had stopped the violence, but the real fight, protecting Rebecca from the man who owned her fear, was only beginning. The county hospital smelled of disinfectant and exhaustion. Nurses hurried through hallways, pushing carts, checking monitors, soothing crying patients. When Victor and two bikers arrived, they drew quick, curious glances. Large men in leather stepping through sterile corridors. They found Rebecca in a dim room on the third floor. Tyler lay curled beside her, exhausted from terror and adrenaline. Rebecca slept fitfully, bruised eye swollen shut, ribs tightly wrapped by the medical staff. A nurse approached quietly. "You're the bikers from the motel, right?" Victor nodded. "Good," she whispered with conviction. "She told me everything. That man terrorized her for 8 months straight. She tried to leave him twice. Both times he hunted her down." Victor's eyes hardened. Rebecca woke, startled, trembling instantly. "He'll make bail," she whispered. "He always makes bail. He knows where I live, where I work. I can't run anymore. He'll find me." Victor sat beside her, hands folded. "Not this time." She blinked, confused. "But you don't even know us." "Your son ran to us," Victor replied plainly. "That takes courage. We won't walk away from that." Her lip trembled. Tears slid quietly from one swollen eye. Tyler stirred awake. When he saw Victor, he whispered, "You're not gonna let him hurt her again?" "No," Victor said simply. "Never." Rebecca covered her mouth, overwhelmed, not by fear, but by the first bit of safety she had felt in months. Outside her room, Victor pulled out his phone. "We need a meeting tonight," he told his club brothers. "Full attendance." The Thunder Knights didn't hesitate. Protection wasn't something they negotiated. It was something they delivered. The Thunder Knights clubhouse buzzed with urgency. 23 members arrived within an hour, men from construction sites, night shifts, garage bays. Each wore the same insignia, a silver Thunderbird against black. Axel, the club president, stood at the head of the table, battle-scarred and steady. Victor outlined everything: the motel, the abuse, the hospital, the danger. "She has no money. No family here. No safe place. And Marcus will come for her. We all know it." Spike, the youngest member, leaned forward uneasily. "Look, I'm sorry for her, but we're not a charity. We all have our own families." Victor didn't snap. His tone stayed cold, controlled. "That boy came to us. He chose us. Not the police, not strangers in the diner. Us. Spike looked down, Victor continued. If we walk away now, we break the very code we built this club on. The room grew still. Axel finally spoke, voice low but commanding. The Knights protect those who can't protect themselves. Especially women and children escaping abuse. That's who we are. He looked at each member. All in favor of full protection? Hands rose, every hand. Motion passed. Victor exhaled, tension releasing slightly, but his mission was far from over. Axel assigned tasks instantly: 6 members to find Rebecca a new apartment, 4 to handle security installations, 2 to contact employers for safe job placement, the rest to run surveillance around her old locations to intercept Marcus if he returned. This is not temporary, Axel said firmly. This is until she's safe. Every man nodded. Outside, engines roared to life, 40 motorcycles thundering into the night, not for intimidation, but for protection. Rebecca and Tyler now had an army. Marcus just didn't know it yet. Monday morning, the incident at Motel Room 14 had spread across local news channels. Lucy's diner provided security footage, Tyler running inside in desperation, 8 bikers rising immediately, Victor leading them across the street. Reporters called it a powerful act of civil courage. Overnight, public opinion shifted. The community that once glanced nervously at the Thunder Knights now saw protectors, not predators. Lucy placed a glass jar on the counter labeled "Help Rebecca and Tyler." On the front, she taped Tyler's crayon drawing, a childlike sketch of motorcycles and heroes. Customers began dropping bills inside without hesitation. By the end of the week, donations reached $15,000. Victor visited Rebecca at the hospital to deliver the news. She stared at the envelope, stunned. I don't understand. Why would people help me? Because you survived, Victor said plainly. And because your boy asked for help. Rebecca covered her face with trembling hands. This time, the tears weren't from fear, they were from a support she had never believed she deserved. Meanwhile, Marcus was being processed downtown. Officers who had known him for years refused to tolerate his usual bullying. Sheriff Cruz filed every charge possible: aggravated assault, domestic battery, endangerment of a minor. Marcus expected to make bail within a day, but the paperwork kept delaying. Everyone was buying time. At the diner, locals began leaving notes: "Stay strong. You're safe now. We stand with you." The Thunder Knights rotated 24-hour protection around the hospital. No one outside the staff noticed, but every entrance remained watched, every hallway monitored. Rebecca slept without nightmares for the first time in months. Tyler drew more pictures, filling pages with bikers, lightning bolts, and the word "safe" in big, shaky letters. The community had chosen its side, and it had chosen her. 4 bikers scouted apartments across town until they found one suitable, a secure building with cameras, guard patrols, keycard access, and underground parking. Far from the motel. Far from Marcus's usual hunting grounds, the landlord hesitated when he saw 8 leather-vested men enter his office, but Axel stepped forward calmly. "We're paying a year up front. She moves in immediately." The landlord agreed instantly. By afternoon, the Knights assembled furniture they had purchased collectively: bed, dresser, table, sofa, curtains, cookware. Each item placed carefully, not as charity but as restoration. Rebecca left the hospital 2 days later, ribs still healing. When the Knights escorted her to the new apartment, she stopped in the doorway, clutching Tyler's hand. The living room was warm, furnished, and filled with small kindnesses: books, blankets, a stocked kitchen. Her breath caught. This can't be for us." "It is," Victor said. Tyler ran from room to room, laughing, a sound the Knights had not heard from him before. Rebecca sank onto the sofa, overwhelmed. "I don't know how to repay any of this." "You don't," Victor answered. "You focus on healing. The club installed additional locks, reinforced the doorframe, placed cameras at both ends of the hallway, and gave Rebecca a list of emergency contacts. Every member's number was on it. "You're never alone again," Snake said. That night, Rebecca lay in her new bed, staring at the ceiling. Every creak still made her tense, but then she remembered the bikers standing in the hallway, their quiet, steady presence. For the first time, she didn't feel hunted, she felt protected. Outside, on the street below, motorcycles patrolled in slow, steady circuits. The Knights weren't guarding an apartment, they were guarding a life. News spread quickly that Marcus would likely make bail soon. The Thunder Knights prepared accordingly. Victor organized rotating watch schedules. 2 bikers at Rebecca's building. 2 at Tyler's school. 1 at her new workplace, a job provided by a club member who owned a small logistics company. 1 monitoring Marcus's known associates. The rest stayed ready to move within minutes. No member complained. No one hesitated. Rebecca returned to work cautiously, flinching at loud noises, startled by sudden movements. But knowing the Knights were always nearby gave her the strength to keep going. Tyler seemed lighter. In class, he drew pictures of motorcycles and birds with thunderbolt wings. His teacher asked him why he liked bikes so much. "They saved my mom," he answered simply. At night, Victor sometimes sat outside the apartment building, listening to the rumble of passing cars. Snake kept watch on the rooftop. Riggs checked the stairwells every hour. Their presence was silent, but calculating. One evening, Rebecca stepped outside to throw away trash and found Victor standing by his bike. She hesitated. "Do you ever get tired?" "Yes," Victor said. "But not of this." Rebecca nodded. "Marcus always told me no one would ever help me. That no one cared. He was wrong." She swallowed hard. "I'm scared he'll come." "You're allowed to be scared," Victor replied. "But fear isn't the same as being unprotected." Tyler joined them at the door. "Mr. Victor? Can you teach me to ride a motorcycle when I'm older?" Victor paused. "If your mother agrees." Rebecca managed a small smile. "We'll see." The night was quiet. Calm. Almost peaceful, but everyone knew the storm had not passed. It was only gathering strength. 4 days later, just as Rebecca predicted, Marcus made bail. He walked out of the county jail at 8 a.m., fury simmering beneath his bruises. His brother handed him a phone, keys, and a cold glare. "You need to lay low," he warned. Marcus ignored him. He wanted control back. He wanted Rebecca afraid again. He went to her old apartment, empty. He went to her workplace, she had quit. He tried her phone, disconnected. He tried walking into the diner. Lucy pointed a finger at him. "Get out before the sheriff is called." Every path he knew was closed. He grew desperate. So Marcus filed a harassment complaint against the Thunder Knights, claiming they intimidated him. Sheriff Cruz read the report, looked Marcus dead in the eye, and said, "You beat a woman in front of multiple witnesses. These men stopped you. That isn't harassment. That's them cleaning up your mess." Complaint denied. Marcus stormed out, humiliated. That night, he tried following a lead from an acquaintance. Saw her near East Ridge. The acquaintance lied. 2 Knights were already there, watching from across the street. When Marcus approached the building, they stepped outside silently. He stopped, looked at them, realized they knew his every move. Snake stepped forward slightly. "Turn around. Leave town." The message was not shouted. Not barked. Simply delivered. Marcus spat on the ground but retreated. The next morning, he packed a duffel bag and left the state. Some predators leave only when they finally believe their prey is impossible to reach. The Thunder Knights made sure Marcus understood that truth. Rebecca and Tyler were untouchable. Life slowly stitched itself back together. Rebecca began working at Lucy's diner. She carried plates and took orders with a steady grace that surprised even her. Customers recognized her from the news and left generous tips, but treated her with dignity, the one thing she had lived without for years. Lucy trained her personally. "You're strong," she said, handing Rebecca a notepad. "You survived what many don't. This place will help you rebuild." Tyler started second grade at a new school. On his first day, 8 motorcycles escorted him to the entrance, not in a threat display, but a shield of safety. Other children pointed excitedly. The teachers smiled. Tyler walked between the riders with his backpack bouncing, no fear shadowing his eyes. At home, the apartment felt lived in. Warm. Safe. Rebecca cooked dinner without flinching at dropping pans. Tyler slept through the night. The silence no longer felt dangerous. Victor checked in regularly, but never hovered. He ensured she had everything she needed without making her feel dependent. Rebecca admired his discipline, his steadiness, his silence that communicated more than words ever could. One evening, Tyler proudly hung his drawings on the apartment wall: motorcycles, thunderbirds, and heroic figures. Rebecca watched him and felt something she had not felt in months: hope. She set the table, pausing to look at the door. For years, she had waited for violent footsteps, for shouting, for threats. Now she waited for nothing. For the first time in her adult life, quiet meant peace. Outside, engines rumbled softly, a reminder that safety wasn't an accident. It was earned, and it was guarded. A full year after the rescue, Lucy's Diner hosted a small celebration. Locals filled the booths, the smell of pancakes drifting through the air. Children ran between tables. Reporters held cameras. The Thunder Knights stood near the back, solemn, steady, unchanged in their loyalty. Rebecca stepped forward when Lucy tapped the microphone. She looked healthier, stronger, confident in a way she once believed impossible. "A year ago," she began, "my son ran into this diner begging strangers for help. These bikers didn't hesitate. They protected us. They gave us safety. They gave us a future." Silence fell across the diner. Tyler walked up beside her holding a canvas, his original crayon drawing transformed into a painted tribute. It showed 8 bikers standing like guardians around a mother and child, blocking dark shadows. At the top, in bold letters: "Sometimes heroes ride Harleys." Tyler handed it to Victor. Victor knelt and hugged him. "You were the hero, kid. You asked for help when it mattered most." The crowd applauded. Some wiped tears. Axel nodded proudly. "This is why we ride." Outside, sunlight glowed across the highway. Motorcycles lined in perfect formation reflected the sky. Rebecca looked at the Knights. At her son. At the life she had rebuilt from ashes. For the first time in years, the future felt open, strong, free. The story closed not with violence, but with resilience, proof that courage can begin with a cry for help, and heroes sometimes appear wearing leather instead of capes. The Thunder Knights didn't save a moment, they saved a family, and in that diner, surrounded by applause and gratitude, one truth echoed: real heroes answer calls they never planned to hear, and they ride on.